Hi, I'm Jen, and welcome to an introduction to Qigong. So, what the heck is Qigong? Qi means energy, which you might find through the air that you breathe, through the food that you eat, by spending time in nature, or by spending time around people you care about, because emotions generate Qi either, positively or negatively. And gong means work or discipline or practice. So together, it's the practice of cultivating your energy. Rather than going on about theory, I thought we'd just crack straight on into the class. Just some quick preparatory stuff. This class will be seated. Ideally, you want a chair without arms so that you can move your arms about. Sort of like a dining chair like this, or desk chair or stool would be good. But if that's not available to you, doesn't matter, whatever you've got around. You want to ideally be sat not leaning up against the backrest, but if you're too tired, don't feel well enough, don't worry about that. Lean back, it's fine. You want to think about sitting on your sits bones rather than on the sort of fleshy part of your thighs, which naturally that will happen as you sit closer towards the edge of your seat. And you want a straight back. Often when we think of sort of straight back and good posture, we think of the military posture, which has the shoulders far back and the chest pushed forward like so. You don't really want that with Qigong. You want to think about sort of sinking the chest in slightly, not to the point where you have like a concave rounded back, but just so that you're not in this position. So you can sort of move back and forth in between these two extremes and kind of find, where is the central point? Where is my spine? Just nice and relaxed and straight, vertebrae stacking on top of each other. Another thing to think of is the crown of the head is suspended by a string, which helps to kind of decompress the spine. And the chin is slightly tucked back, not enough to give you a double chin or create any tension in the neck or throat, just again to help create that straight line. And with that, we'll make a start. So we'll kick off with some breathing. If you put one hand, palms on top of the other, on your lower abdomen, so just below the navel, and close your eyes. And just take some deep, slow breaths in and out of the nose. Try and see if you can feel your abdomen rising and falling with this movement. Don't try and force it, push it out, suck it back in. Just see if it naturally moves. And you want to think about slowing down the breath from your normal rate, not to the point where you're passing out, but just that you're creating a state of relaxation. And we'll just stay here for a few moments. Okay, good. So now keep one hand where it is, move the other up to your chest. We're going to do an exercise called wave breathing. Now with this, it starts off the same. You're breathing into your abdomen, but then you feel the breath pushing out your chest and your ribs rather, and then eventually your chest. And then you exhale from your chest, your ribs, and then your belly. So you're inhaling into belly, ribs, chest, exhaling chest, ribs, belly. And just keep going with that for a while. Again, trying to take slow breaths in and out through the nose. with a hand on your belly and on your chest, it helps to sort of feel that wave of breath as it travels up and then moves back down. Okay, good. Now we're going to do a bit of acupressure massage. Qigong is a branch of traditional Chinese medicine, like acupuncture is. So it uses the same system of energy meridians through the body, and it thinks of illness as qi that's stagnant and stuck in the body. And Qigong helps to sort of get that moving so that you can circulate energy. And one thing that can help with that is stimulating acupoints. So I've selected a few that are particularly good if you're low on energy. First one is called the 3 mile point, or stomach 36. And you find it by placing the palm of your hand on your knee. I'm just raising my knee so you can see, you don't have to do that. Palm of your hand on the knee, and then where the ring finger lands, that's stomach 36. Or you can find it by running your fingers up the outer edge of your shin bone. You should feel a sort of tunnel, a groove there. And then where that tunnel stops, sort of a few inches below the knee, that's stomach 36. And you can stimulate that point by pressing and making circles like I'm doing now. You can just press and hold, or you can also knock with a loose fist. You can play around with those methods, like whatever feels good for you. You might feel some tenderness in the area. That's good. That means you found it. The tenderness just means there's some stuck energy there. And make sure to give the other side some love as well. Do them one at a time or both at the same time, whatever feels good for you. This is called the 3 mile point because Chinese soldiers used to attach rocks by strings to their armor so that when they knelt down, they would be kneeling on these rocks and they would press into these points, and they'd take breaks every 3 miles for sort of 10 to 15 minutes to kneel on these points, and it would give them enough energy to walk another 3 miles. There you go. That's why it got that nickname. I'm going to give mine a knock for a little bit. That feels quite nice. Okay, good. So another point we're going to stimulate is on the crown of the head. It's called the Bai Hui point, or the point of 100 convergences. And you find this by tracing a line from the tops of your ears up to the top of your head where they meet in the middle. And if you're not quite sure where the middle is, you can draw a line up from your nose to find the exact central point. And right there, that's the Bai Hui point. So you can again press and make circles. You can tap with a flat palm. Or another method, you can make a beak by sort of pressing your fingers and thumb together, and you can tap there like that. Play around with different methods, see what feels good. Today I feel like tapping with an open palm. That feels best for me right now. It's also better if you're not 100% sure where it is. You're not going to miss it with this method. We switch hands if your hand gets tired, or arm rather. Good. The last point is on the soles of the feet. It's called kidney 1, or the bubbling spring. Now you find this point, I'll just awkwardly lift my leg up for this demonstration, by curling your toes, and you'll see underneath the ball of your feet, let me take my sock off, then you can actually see, curling your toes creates a depression underneath the ball of your feet between your big toe and the toe next to it. So again, you can press and hold, You can press and make circles. You can press and knock. I like to rest my foot on my chair. That's a bit awkward, this one. Not the flexibility to get to it on this side very much. But yeah, if you can't access it, if it's a bit of a faff, another way you can massage that point is just by placing your feet on the ground and sort of rocking your feet back and forth, sort of lifting the heels and lifting the toes. And that massages the bubbling spring point. But if you can, pressing in circles or knocking feels quite nice. Make sure to give the other side some love again. So we'll curl the toes underneath the balls of the feet. You'll see that creates a little depression between the first toe, big toe rather, and the toe next to it. Give that a massage. Find that easier on this side. Joints are a bit unhappy on the other side. A bit of a knock. Whatever method feels good for you. Okay, good, we'll leave it there. So pop your feet back on the floor. That's a thing I forgot to mention earlier. You want your feet on the floor, legs not crossed, toes pointing forward, about hip width apart. So next we will move on to some knocking. This helps to release and move around some of that stagnant chi that I was talking about that can cause illness. This might bother my microphone a bit, so apologies if you get some weird noises while I'm doing this. You start with loose fists, knocking up and down the sternum. And as you do this, inhale through the nose and exhale out the mouth with a sighing breath. Do that a few times. Then knock on one side of your chest underneath where the collarbone and the shoulder meet. There's a natural depression. If you knock there, some good acupoints there. And then with an open palm, slightly cupped, you want to slap down the inside of your arms and up the outside. Do that a few times, down the inside, up the outside. One last go, down the inside, the outside, and then bring that knocking over to the other side. I'm sort of doing it very awkwardly because that's where my mic is. Apologies for the weird sound. Again, slightly cut palm, slap down the inside of the arm, up the outside, down the inside, up the outside. One last go. A little rest for a second. I can get a bit tired from the tapping exercises, so it's okay to take a beat. And if you lift one arm slightly so you can tap in the elbow, it's a good point for depression in there if you're ever feeling low. And then tap down the side ribs to the hip. Do that a few times. And on the other side. Apologies if this is making weird sounds in my microphone. Down the side ribs to the hip. And repeat. Just hold the arm wherever is comfortable for you. Sometimes my arm's up there, sometimes it's over there. Whatever is least challenging. Okay. Now we're going to knock with loose fists up and down the tailbone, not directly on the spine, but kind of to either side of it. That really helps to wake up energy in your body as well. So up and down the tailbone, and if you can, You can knock slightly further up the spine as well. You can sort of come up to the backs of the lungs and the ribs and go back down, only if it's available to you. Otherwise, stick with the tailbone. And then we'll move to the sides of the hips. Sides of the thighs, so the tops of the thighs. And again, with an open cup palm, you want to slap down the outside of the legs. You won't see what I'm doing, but I'm going all the way down the outsides of the legs to the feet. Come around the feet, up the insides of the legs, finishing at the hip crease. And we go back to the hips, down the outsides of the legs, up the insides. One more time. Up at the hip crease a bit. And pause. And just close your eyes for a minute. Just see what you notice in your body. Do you feel any different? There's no wrong answer. Do you feel any buzzing or tingling anywhere in the body? Any warmth? Do you feel energized? Do you feel relaxed? Do you feel both at the same time? Good thing about Qigong is that it helps you to be mindful and present in your body and more aware of what's going on in there. So now we'll do a bit of silk reeling, which is so called because it helps to oil the joints. So we'll start with the wrists. So making circles around each hand. That was very articulate. Wiggle the fingers around as well as you're doing it. That helps to really sort of stretch the tendons and ligaments and things. And go in the other direction. Okay, now we'll do elbows. So keeping the elbows relatively static. Move the forearms round in a circle. And the other way. Now we'll do shoulders. So we'll start with forward shoulder rotations. Think about moving the shoulders up, forward, down, up, forward, down, and back. And as you can see, my upper arms are kind of rotating with this motion. And now we'll go the other way. So forward, up, back, down, forward, up, back, down. Again, the upper arms are rotating, which changes which way the palms face. Good. Now we'll give the neck a bit of love. So we'll start with raising the head and then lowering it in a slow nod. Don't worry about moving to your maximum range of motion. You can always start the motion quite small and then sort of gradually increase once the muscles warm up a bit. My neck is feeling a bit stiff. That's quite common. So stiffness in the neck and shoulders is a thing we all deal with. Okay, and now we'll look from side to side. Again, don't try and crank your head round as much as you possibly can. You don't want to do yourself a mischief. Just gently turning from side to side, seeing if you can maybe turn a little bit further each time, but don't worry about it. Then we want to make some circles with the head. To do this, you put the hands in prayer position like this behind your back, if that's available to you. Otherwise, just make gentle head circles. Again, don't worry about doing a maximum range of motion, just as far as is comfortable. And the other way. Good. We'll shake the arms out a bit. Get rid of any tension in there. Hands on the hips. I'm going to do some torso rotation, so keeping the hips and bum planted where they are. Think about rotating your trunk around. Again, don't go mad with this movement. I deal with some hip pain, so I like to keep the circles quite small. Quite nice and soothing. I'll try not to fall asleep and go in the other direction. Now we'll do a bit of spinal movement, moving the spine in the various directions that it can move. So we'll start with some gentle twists. So take one hand over to the opposite knee, other hand up to the hip, and sort of gently turn over to that side, starting from the lower portion of your spine, moving up the spine and ending with the head, just so that you're not leading the motion with the neck and sort of hurting your neck. And come back to center. Other hand over to the other knee, this hand up to the hip, twist over to that side. Back to the center. And we'll speed that up a bit and do it in time with the breath. So inhale at the center, exhale into the twist. Inhale back to center. Exhale into the twist. Inhale back to center. Actually, I think it might be the other way around. You can do it both ways, but we'll do exhale at the center, inhale into the twist. They just have slightly different effects. So exhale, inhale into the twist. Exhale to center. Inhale into the twist. Exhale to center. Inhale into the twist. Exhale to center. Inhale into the twist. Exhale back to center. So inhaling into the twist means that you're breathing air into other portions of your ribs and lungs on one side. And exhaling into the twist means you're sort of wringing the air out of the lungs. So both are good. They just have slightly different effects, right? So we've done twisting. Now we're going to do sort of spinal flexion, which is a bit like cat-cow, if you're familiar from yoga. We're sort of arching the back and then rounding the back. But with this, we do it with our arms up. So we start from here. Inhale, move the arms out to the sides, arch the back, lift the chin slightly. Exhale, bring the arms into the center, push them towards the belly, round the back, tuck the chin in. Inhale, arch the back slightly, lift the head slightly. Exhale, round the back, tuck the chin in a little bit. Tuck the chicken in. That's not it, Jen. Inhale. Exhale. And go at your own pace. Ideally, you want to slow the breathing down as much as possible. But if, you know, my pace is too slow for you, speed it up a bit so that you're going in time with your breathing, or you can slow it down a bit. Whatever feels right for you. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Now one last spinal movement. Shake the arms out a bit. That created a bit of tension. This sideways bend. And we're going to do that by sweeping one arm up and around you so the palm is facing up. You're going to think of extending the spine and leaning over to the side, keeping this sits bone and hip rooted down. Bring the arm back down. Scoop the other arm up so the palm is facing up. Extend up and over. Keep this side rooted down so you're not falling off the chair. And lower the arm back down. And we'll do that with breathing. So inhale, arm up. Exhale, arm down. Inhale, arm up. Exhale, arm down. More times. Once more on either side. Okay. So, we've done a bit of stretching. Our joints are nice and mobilized. Before we get into the slow flowing movements that characterize Qigong, we're going to do a few more slightly vigorous purging exercises. And purging, much like with the knocking, helps to sort of release stuck emotions, stagnant energy in the body. So we'll start with shaking. So for this, you want to think about shaking your arms, or flopping the wrists about, getting the elbows involved and the shoulders. Sort of relax your head on your neck. You might have your head sort of bounce a bit. For this, you want to inhale through your nose, exhale, sighing breath out the mouth. If it's available to you, tap the feet, tap the soles, try that again, tap the heels of the foot onto the floor. That helps to create a bit of vibration in the legs, vibrate the bones. Again, inhale through the nose, exhale out the mouth. Have eyes open or closed. I've just naturally closed mine, whatever feels comfortable for you. Bring the arms out to the sides. Let the palms facing up. Only if it's available to you. Raise them above your head for a bit. Don't worry about full extension. Keep them in a hoop. Keep the shoulders relaxed. And the sides. And back down. And stop. And just pause. Close your eyes for a minute. See if you notice any difference in your body. I feel quite a lot of sort of buzzing and tingling in my hands. And I feel sort of slightly energized, but also relaxed. If you don't feel any different, that's fine. No wrong answers. So the next purging exercise we're going to do is called the pump. To do that, you lift your arms up, gentle fists, inhale. Exhale, release the fists and the arms with a forceful sigh. So inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, and repeat. And if it's available to you, lean forward on the exhale. So the arms are swinging behind you. All of this is too vigorous, too exertive. Just do the breathing component. Just inhale through the nose, exhale forcefully out the mouth. And stop. Oh, that did some interesting things to my hair. Just pause for a minute. I can feel a bit lightheaded after that exercise. So what I like to do is just tap on the head from front to back. That helps to get rid of some of that lightheadedness. Okay. Pause for a minute. Just check your posture, that your feet flat on the floor, about hip width apart. Spine is straight. Crown is suspended. Chin is slightly tucked back. Flat on your sits bones if that's possible to you. Otherwise, lean back. We're going to move into our flows. This is all inhaling and exhaling through the nose. You want the inhale and the exhale to be roughly equal. Now we'll start with Tai Chi opening. So for this, you inhale, raise the arms, exhale, lower the arms. With the inhale, you're sort of leading with a limp wrist. Exhale, you bend the elbow, and then the wrist kind of wave down like that. Inhale, exhale. Keep going. I'll turn to the side so you can see a bit better how that looks. So inhale the arms up, leading from the wrist. Exhale, drop the elbows and the arms, the wrists rather, sort of wave. See myself very well. Thank you, brain fog. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Just continue like that for a bit. Just come back to face you. Right. Eyes closed or open, whatever feels comfortable for you. For me, I quite like keeping my eyes closed. Helps to sort of tune into the sensations in the body. You might notice as you lift your arms that the weight shifts slightly forward and your chest rises a bit. And that as you lower the arms, your weight might move slightly back on your sits bones and your chest might sink a bit. If you don't notice that, don't worry about it. Ideally, you want to sort of create a kind of full body movement, or at least in our case, from the hips up, because we're doing a seated practice rather than just moving the arms. Just a very slight movement that you would notice. It wouldn't be particularly exaggerated. Just a sort of slight rocking backwards and forwards. Okay, we'll leave it there. Wow, I'm feeling very chill now. Try and remain with it to teach the rest of this class. And now we're going to do an exercise called fireworks. So if you bring the arms out into a hoop with your palms facing up, sort of hovering above the lap, slightly in front of you, so not like too far forward, not like right on your belly, but just slightly in front. And then we're going to inhale as we curl the fingers under, bring the arms up the midline. As we get above the head, rotate the arms out, and exhale, swoop the arms down around you. Starting at that original position. Inhale, curl the fingers in. Hands come up the midline. Rotate the hands out. Exhale as they come back down. Again, inhaling, exhaling out the mouth. Inhaling on the way up, exhaling on the way down. Again, with this, go at your own pace. Ideally, you want to slow the movement down as much as possible. But you don't want to be matching a pace that doesn't suit you, and then you end up, lightheaded, passing out. You just want to go at a slower rate than your normal breathing. You can think about that wave breathing we did earlier, so breathing into the belly, the ribs, and the chest, exhaling from the chest, the ribs, and the belly. If that's too much, don't worry about that, just focus on the movement for now. Shift my chair over slightly, one of my hands is getting cut out of frame. I'm going to try and slow the movement down a bit. An even slower breath. Okay, good. Pause for a minute. Hands on the lap. See how you feel. Okay, now we're going to do a movement called Tiger Gathers Its Cubs. And this movement focuses on the 3 dantians in Qigong, which are energy centers. So your first energy center is in your lower abdomen, sort of midway between your navel and pubic bone. I'm doing well at talking today, where we had our hands earlier for abdominal breathing. That's the sort of main energy center that we focus on in Qigong. That's sort of responsible for kind of like your essence, your vitality, your sort of the most physical form of qi. which is possibly a bit of an oxymoron. And then the middle dantian, the heart center area, that's sort of to do with like your emotions, your conscious mind, your awareness, your kind of the vitality and the energy that you use to get through the day. And then the third energy center is at the third eye point. That's the upper dantian, and that's kind of to do with your unconscious mind, spirituality. It's the kind of least dense form of energy, sort of most ethereal. You can cultivate that with Qigong, meditation, spiritual practices, prayer. Yeah, so how this motion looks is a bit difficult to describe, so I'm just going to do it and hopefully it should make sense. We're going to start with it at the level of the lower dantian and gradually move upwards. So you start by swooping one arm and in, and then the other arm. So with the swoop, it's sort of like back of the hand facing out, and as you bring the arm back in, you rotate so the palm is facing up. And it's kind of like a figure of 8 where the other arm starts moving out as the opposite arm is moving in. And with breathing, you can think about inhaling as you swoop out and bring one arm in. Exhaling as you sweep out and bring the other arm in. So inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. If that breathing is too slow, you can do inhale as you swoop out, exhale as you bring in, draw it in, or you can speed the movement up. Inhale as you swoop one arm out, exhale as you swoop the other arm out. Inhale as you swoop one arm out, exhale as you swoop the other arm out. I think I suggested slightly weird timings the first time around. I think this makes more sense. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. We're going to bring that movement up slightly to the middle dantian, to the heart center. Same motion, just arms slightly higher up. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. This will be a little tricky on the arms. Just try and think of relaxing the shoulders as much as possible to avoid creating tension. I'm going to move up to the upper dantian, the sort of third eye forehead height. So it's like imagining that you're swooping energy from around you and drawing those into those energy centers. Probably should have said that earlier. I'm going to come back down to the middle dantian at the heart height. You can imagine like a glowing ball of light in those centers as you're doing it. Make it any color you want, make it lots of colors. And that light sort of grows brighter with each time you gather the chi and Bring it in. Back down to the lower dantian. Just above the lap. I've sort of sped up the movement here. This is always a thing with flows, to not kind of rush through them, to try and consciously force yourself to slow down. Take slower breaths. And stop. Rest the palms on the lap for a minute. Take a few deep breaths, see how you feel. And last flowing movement before we finish up our practice is called flying. Now it's very similar to Tai Chi opening that we were doing at the beginning, but instead of out to the front, it's out to the sides. So you're sort of leading with a limp wrist as you inhale, then leading with the elbow, and then the wrist as you exhale. Inhale as the arms come up. Exhale as they go back down. And with this, you can close your eyes and imagine you're a bird. That you're flying. Flying over the top of your daily routine, your to-do list, everything that's stressing you out, all the people that might be getting on your nerves. Leaving all that stuff behind you for a bit. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms down. Again, like with Tai Chi opening, with this one, you might notice as your arms raise, your chest sort of lifts slightly and you might rock slightly forward on your sits bones, and as they lower, chest might sink slightly and you move slightly back on your sits bones, like the sort of most gentle rocking motion, not like super exaggerated so it looks like, you know, it's very subtle. If this is too much, you can just do tiny flaps, little flaps at the side. And if you like, you can sort of gradually increase them over time until they end up sort of being at shoulder height. And again, always, if this is too much, just do the breathing and the visualization. Don't worry about the movement. My arms are getting a bit tired, so I'm just going to do baby flaps. Always, if you're feeling tension in the shoulders, try and relax the shoulders. That's difficult to do. Hike the shoulders up for an inhale. Exhale, let them down. And then that should help kind of relax them. And from this movement, we'll move straight into the closing motion for Qigong, which is pulling down the heavens. And with this, you imagine gathering Qi from up around you and bringing it down your central channel so that the Qi ends up sort of being deposited in your lower dantian below the navel. So scoop the arms up, inhale, gather the Qi. Exhale, bring the Qi down through that Bai Hui point, down the central energy channel, landing in the lower dantian. So inhale, in and out through the nose. Exhale, we bring that Qi in, we store it in our lower energy center. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Again, with this, we're not thinking about stretching to our maximum range of motion. We're not arms straight out to the side, all the way up, hiking the shoulders up. No, no, no. In Qigong, it's all very relaxed. Qigong is the art of effortless movement. You want to use as little muscular force as possible. You want to always keep bending the joints, no lock joints. Qigong. So with this, you can see like my upper arms never really go higher than being parallel with the ground, and then the elbows bend and we're drawing in the energy. The arms don't have to go particularly high. Above you, and we'll end with this last one. And as we started, cross one palm over the other on our lower dantian, so underneath our navel. Pause for a bit. Check in with your body. How do you feel? Do some deep abdominal breathing. Take a minute to let everything settle. Great. So, she says, trying to not fall asleep now. After Qigong, it's nice to finish up with a bit of massage. So we will start with rubbing the hands together, just gently, create some warmth. If you're doing it too hard and you're hiking your shoulders up, just drop those back down. I always used to do this when this exercise is recommended. I was like, push the hands really firmly together and generate all of this tension. No, just gently until the palms of the hands warm up. I might be here for a minute. I have poor circulation in my extremities. Maybe they don't warm up, that's okay too. Oh, something's happening. There we go. And then we're going to make circles on our face, sort of running up the midline, and out the outsides, around the outsides rather, out the midline, like you're drawing a heart on your face. An experiment with pressure, you can be quite firm. You can just do it gently, whatever feels nice. Now we're going to do some more tapping on our head. We're tapping from front to back. Starting at the forehead, going down to the nape of the neck. You can move the hands slightly further apart so that they're coming towards the ears. So you're sort of tapping around the ears. Speaking of ears, we'll do a bit of ear massage. Starting at the tops. Work your way around the outside of the ears. You get to the earlobe, then you want to do a little pinch and pull on the earlobe a couple times. And then start again from the top. Again with this, it's very easy to start creating some tension in the upper body. Try and keep that all relaxed. Work your way around the ears to the earlobes, pinch and pull. Not so that it hurts, just, one more time. There are many acupuncture points in the ears and reflexology points. So, yeah, they say ear massage a day keeps the doctor away. I cannot vouch for this, but it does feel nice. What are we doing next? Brain fog. Hello, what are we doing next? Tapping down the chest, that's what we're doing. So for this, we can use tips of our fingers. No, wait, that's not it. We're slapping down the chest. Okay, palms of the hands. Apologies for what this does to my microphone. I'm trying to avoid it. My microphone's over here. So from top to bottom. Oh, brain fog. I don't remember what comes next. Let's do a bit of belly massage. How about that? Interlace the fingers. This starting coming up the right side, over the top and down the left side. What this does is it stimulates the internal organs in the direction of elimination. So if you're struggling to go to the loo, which I often am, this helps. Another way you can do that is make loose fists. That can help for a sort of deeper massage. You can experiment with pressure. So it's coming up your right side. I'll be mirroring you. Down your left side. Up your right side. And down your left side. And make those circles smaller and smaller until they condense in a point at your lower dantian, which is just below the navel. Or midway between the navel and the pubic bone, or you can think like an inch or two below your navel. And stop. And take an inhale. Exhale. And we have gone to some Qi. So thank you for joining me for an introduction to Qigong. If you enjoyed this, stay tuned, there'll be more. I'm going to also film a short version of this one if you're low on time, if you're low on energy. Just a condensed version of this, some of the same exercises, cutting a few of them out to save on time. But yeah, thanks for joining me, and see you all soon.